Welcome to Season 2 of the Moving On podcast. I'm Jay Norman.
Hi, I'm Jessie Norman. We sure have missed you guys. And if you're new around here, welcome.
Babe, you got anything you want to talk about?
Oh, I bet we will think of something.
We always do. Hi, babe.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Are you ready to get after this again?
I am so excited.
Maybe we'll be a little bit more in practice.
Yes, for sure. We were very rusty. Remember when I started the podcast off with 2 points and forgot the second point? And then you
Long
forgot
lips.
the first one?
To follow you back on.
Yeah.
Good. So what you been up to?
We went to the beach, and as soon as we got back from the beach, then my children went on vacation with their dad to Colorado, and yours went to spend time with their mama.
Yep.
And so I have just single-handedly tried to renovate the cabin. I'm having a good time.
She has gone off the deep end on home decor. And so it's been a little wild and crazy, and we're just getting ready to start harvest the corn. Really close. We actually tried the first plant today, and it's probably maybe 2 to 3 days off.
Well, that'd be good.
So
I
we're ready to
thought
get after
we
it.
might start today.
Yeah, usually around August 1, and I think it's going to get really close to that.
Yeah, you were thinking it might work today, though.
Yeah, I was ready. I mean, always ready to get after it, and I think we'll have some that'll be ready early, and then we'll transition into some later stuff. I hope this is where we can continue to keep cutting and not have to stop.
I heard that you had a pretty jazzy lunch date today.
I did have a very jazzy lunch date today. I had an unexpected message on Instagram this morning.
What was it?
It was a invite from Rob Sharkey, a shark farmer.
Oh, okay. Are you taking him also? Are you taking him as a friend from me?
I guess so.
Because everyone I love, you just take. Yeah. So don't mind me.
So anyway, we got to be.
Did you two have fun together?
We had a blast. We really did. And his wife too. So she's my new friend
hurts
too.
A little bit.
Wasn't what you were expecting today when I called you, was it?
No. Did you have a good time?
We did.
You did so well.
Thank you, babe. I had a really good time being on there, and really surprised. He had messaged me last night at 10 o'clock, and I didn't even check Instagram until like 9:40 this morning, and had to be on in 2 hours, and so I had to think pretty quick. Yes.
Well, I did the show about a year ago, and that was the first time I got to talk to Emily, his wife. And after we finished recording, she and I started shooting the bull, found out that we just kind of pretty much loved each other.
Yeah.
Well, he got onto us and was like, we're on the studio's time. We need to get off the phone. Kind of corrected us and got off the phone. Then today, after y'all's show, y'all just shoot the bull and hanging out. I'm like, what in the...
And as we can all guess, you immediately called him out.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, what is this? Preferential
Blue fresh hell, I believe is what you said.
Yes. But you did so well.
It was a lot of fun and really unexpected. Really unexpected.
I just thought you did so good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I'm glad it's over.
You are?
Yeah.
So that was fun.
So, babe, today we have a very special guest.
A beautiful guest.
Somebody that's extremely important to you.
Some may say a beautiful guest.
I would agree with that 100%. So today we want to welcome Ashley Sloan. And Ashley, do you say Gore or Webbers Falls, Oklahoma?
Oh, Gore. We live in Gore, but we farm in Webbers Falls. Okay. So a little bit of both.
Kind of always.
Cody lives in Webbers Falls during the summer, I feel like. So
cross back and forth. So I got a question.
Yeah.
Can you give us your rendition of Jess meeting you at the door in Jackson Hole?
Okay, so it pretty much went like we just stood there and stared at each other while Jess is pouring tears out, and I'm jumping up and down in one spot. Just excited.
So we talked about it on the last podcast we did, and I was just curious of your version of it. I watched it from behind, so I had a little bit different version, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
It took me a while to process.
That's a pretty big thing to process, yeah. I mean, I couldn't even really process it myself, so it's okay.
So when I told you guys last episode about one of my best friends, Ashley, drove 18 or 19 hours with 2 toddlers, in that we live 3 hours apart, but she drove 18 or 19 with little babies to come surprise me and make, the coolest thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. She did that so that could happen. And you taught me so much that moment about friendship and adult friendship and grace and mercy and love and loving big and loving loud. And I'll think of that every day for the rest of my life.
And you're a sweet little angel.
Thank you too for making the effort and finishing up that process for me, because it was a long deal, but it was, in the end, it was well worth it. And thank you for your part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, Jay. I don't know how you did it, because that birthday meltdown would have gotten me to be like, okay, this is what's going on. Sorry. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but you're awesome.
Everyone else I know can't wait until the actual birthday to give a gift or tell the surprise. And he was watching a Mach 5 panic attack. I don't know where he pulled that from. That's strange.
And he was like, sorry about you. This is just how it is.
Yeah. I didn't want to fall back on it, because I knew how special it would be if we could pull it off. And so it was well worth it.
That's a big fat lie. He is scared to death of Cam Engstrom. And she would have ripped him a new one. And
Cam would have put a whooping on you, Jay. She can take you. I believe it. She's a cowgirl through and through. She's got you.
She sent Ashley.
I love what y'all call her, Cam Elliott. That's pretty awesome.
Cam Elliott.
Yeah.
She sent us video today of riding her hog with like 10 other men. And Ash and B and I were going to Zoom on Saturday, and everyone's like, I'm good. And Cam's like, oh, we're going to be riding our motorcycles through Durango and Uray. And Ashley's like, oh, I meant to say that I was going to.
That's what I was doing as well. So take that back real quick.
That meant.
Yeah.
So Ash, you told us that you're from Gore, Oklahoma. Where did you grow up, and tell us about your kids and kind of your life now?
Well, I actually grew up in Gore. Cody and I knew each other growing up, and we fell in love, and I swore I would never live in Gore, Oklahoma, and here I am smack dab in the middle of it and wouldn't change it for the world. And but Cody's a fifth generation farmer. We grow corn, wheat, soybeans. We started cotton back up, but the market, that darn market, just isn't the best for cotton. So we'll hold off on that one. And then we do sweet corn just as a really big family tradition. And besides that, we have our two babies. We have Adeline. She will be 4 in September, and then Crawford will be 2 in November, and they keep me busy.
I bet they do. So growing up, did you think about ever being a farm wife, or were you familiar enough with the Sloan family to know kind of what that was?
I wasn't familiar with farming whatsoever. In fact, right when Cody and I started dating, I got in so much trouble because I would call a combine a tractor all the time. And that is a big no-no. You do not do that. But what's funny is the Sloan family has been selling sweet corn in town, forever. So we used to, as a kid, we would go and buy sweet corn from them. And I just think that is so wild that now here I am, part of that family, part of that tradition. Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, and I love that we have all of that in common. When you talk about your farm, it's the same sentencing that we use. I mean, he's generation. Y'all grow what we grow. Y'all are reps for Pioneer. We're reps for Pioneer. So it's those things that we have in common are like the cherry on top. Don't you think?
It was meant to be. You were meant to put up with me for the rest of your life, but you just didn't know it.
So y'all are both really into Instagram. You're both farm wives. Ash, also, if I remember, you're a nurse, certified nurse, correct?
I am. I graduated from OU in May 2016. I passed my NCLEX July 2016, and then had Adeline September 2016 and became a stay-at-home mom. So really, I just wanted to spend all that money to hang my diploma on the wall so I could look at it.
That's smart. Well, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But
as long as it's working, that's what matters.
Right.
It works. It's a pretty little art piece.
So, Ash, we have a Grace Humility podcast, as you know, and I know you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations. So, where does your grace and humility come from?
I like that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, my whole story starts with my very first memory of my life. And that started when I was 2 years old and my sister was 7. At that time, Daddy worked nights every night. And as soon as he would leave, our mother would load us up in the truck and we would go to wherever she was going to get wasted that night, whether it be her boyfriend's house or she would take us to the bar with her and leave us in the truck until she was finished getting wasted, and then she would drive us home intoxicated. But this first memory I have, like I said, I was about 2. She had everyone come over to our house, and I just remember a lot of people being there. I walked into our living room. I didn't know anyone, and there was an adult film on TV, and I took a drink of, gosh, the worst drink I've ever had, and it was alcohol. I had no idea where my mom was at the time. The scariest memory that my sister reminded me of, though, of our childhood is one when we were over at our mother's friend's house, and sister had a cough, and our mother decided to give her friend's son's prescription of penicillin, and it was known that sister's allergic to penicillin. She started having problems breathing, so our mother walked her up and down the road, and it just got so bad that she took her to the ER. Thank goodness she took her. And Daddy didn't know any of this was going on. He didn't know any of it. Our mother was a really great addict and alcoholic and liar. And you would probably think, well, your sister was 7, so why didn't she tell? Our mother told her, if you tell your daddy, I'll kill you. And for an adult, that's a big statement to hear, but as a child, coming from someone that's supposed to love and protect you, I can't imagine how she felt with all of that. So, of course, she was scared. She had to have been.
So this was an everyday deal?
As far as I'm aware, every single night that Daddy would work, we went out and she took us and we slept in the truck or, wherever we were.
So how long
did that
go on from your age 2? And
well, I believe I was 3 when Daddy found out everything that was going on. And we were running late getting home, and our mother was speeding, and she got a speeding ticket. And of course, we were instructed not to tell Daddy. And when we got home, he beat us there. He was up waiting for us. No idea where his babies were. We walk in, and I said, Daddy, Mommy got a ticket. And it kind of just, that was it. Right. He found out everything. And I remember that moment, and I remember some of the words being used, and I wasn't scared at all. It was just a bunch of loud words. But I don't know if it was something like, I knew she couldn't do this anymore. I knew Daddy knows now, so we're safe.
Oh, what a nice feeling.
Yeah, or if I just completely erased some of those memories, I don't know, but it was over with then. Well, that part was over with. We still had some things to deal with, though.
So Dad found out, and obviously life changed for the better after that?
Well, they got a divorce, and that summer we were out, and we got home, and we walked into Daddy's bedroom, and the whole wall across from the window was covered in bullet holes. From top to bottom, from side to side, the whole wall was covered. Daddy's bedroom was right beside our bedroom. You had to go through our bedroom to get there. And we played in there all the time. And we used the bathroom in his bathroom all the time. So we were always in there. So if we would have been home, I really think that the outcome would have been a lot worse. With that, we found out that it actually was someone that she was messing around with, that our mother was messing around with while they were married. He was the one that did that. But that winter, on my 5th birthday, which my birthday is December 22nd, so right before Christmas, we were at my grandparents', and we just had cake and opened presents, and we get a phone call that our house is on fire. I remember it being really sketchy. We were told that the fire was started because of an old record player, but nothing added up. Like, it couldn't have been the old record player. And I just remember all the grown-ups at that time just thinking there's no way that that's what started that fire. So we're pretty sure that she had something to do with it, or, you know, one of her boyfriends. Mm-hmm. I don't have any memories of my mom, like, saying, I love you. I don't have any memories of her hugging me or playing with me. But right after the divorce, she came over, and I remember sitting in the floor with her, and I was laughing, and she smiled, and she left. And that was the last time it wasn't the last time, but one of the few. Daddy always made sure that we saw her, but it was never because she asked to see us. I remember going to see her at a halfway house, and she was sitting in the floor, and she never got up. She never hugged us, and she never said, I miss you. Looking back now on all of those memories, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I've removed myself from that situation. And when I think back on those memories, it's kind of like I am looking through the eyes of another little girl. Mm-hmm. But when I think about what sister went through, she was my protector. She was 7 years old. And when Daddy left the house, she protected me. You know, she didn't really get to feel safe in her home. Mm-hmm. And I really can't imagine what she went through, because she got it so much worse than I did. Mm-hmm. And then to think of Daddy and how, gosh, this person is supposed to be the person that loves you more than anything. Mm-hmm. Is supposed to protect your heart. And she was supposed to protect his babies. And she did nothing. She did none of that.
So seeing everything that you saw at that age and going through all that sadness, how did it affect you as you got older?
You know, now me having babies, that has opened my eyes dramatically to what sister and I went through. And actually, when y'all asked me to do this, I sat down and I thought, there's no way that I can feel why she did what she did. I can't put myself in that position of putting your babies in all of that. So I mentally placed Adeline in that house the night that she had everyone over. And I just saw her walking into the living room to all of that, and I can't breathe. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to jump up and just run to Adeline and promise her that no one is ever going to hurt you. I'll make sure. Mm-hmm. And I'll never hurt her. Addiction takes all the reality away. And it's selfish. And I don't think when you're addicted to something like that, you really see that. And you just don't care. It's a disease, for sure. But I forgive her. I don't hold any grudges against her. I pray that she is well and that she has a family that she loves more than anything. And I pray she has kids that she loves how I love Adeline.
Yeah.
Jesus died on the cross for my sins so I could have forgiveness. So the way I see it is, who am I to not forgive when I have all the forgiveness in the world?
Pretty big of you, Ash. Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if people spend their whole lives not getting to that conclusion, and you're so young to get there. And you get to be one of my best friends, so I'm the lucky one. And I got to meet Sister in Jackson Hole, and we were so thankful to her. She jumped in the car with her two littles, and well, they're a little bit older, but they were so sweet. She came on the trip so that she could help Ash with Crawford and Adeline, and that was just so nice. And I think the moment we met her, she was jamming out to some music in the car. And she was just as lovely as you, Ash. I mean, it's so nice.
Oh my goodness. She is an angel on earth, and she does so much for me. I couldn't do any of this without her, for sure.
I know.
So you were blessed with an amazing older sister that got you through a lot of stuff, and it sounds like Dad that helped get you away from some of those things. And being a blended family podcast, where did your dad's life go from there? And I know you had a stepmother, and how did that affect your life later?
So really, after the divorce, he found my stepmom. Well, I was 5 when he remarried, and she's wonderful. She's my mom. I call her my mom. Mm-hmm. She gave me all of those moments that little girls are supposed to have with their mamas, and raised me. And I don't want anyone to think that we didn't have a wonderful childhood, because Daddy would work nights and get off work and take us to the movies and take us out to the park and play. And then we had a wonderful childhood. And we're the type of family that we say, I love you 400 times before we get off the phone. And if we're in the house walking past each other, you bet your bottom dollar you're going to get a hug just because we want to. Yeah. So, we were raised, it was a really great childhood, and I have nothing to complain about there. Really all of everything that I went through when I was little didn't affect me until I got to my late teens, early 20s.
What did that look like?
When I was about 17, that's when I think Satan saw his chance, and he started planting these really big lies in my head. Your mom didn't want you, so why do you think anyone would? She threw you away like trash, and that's what you are. Mm-hmm. You're not worthy of being here or being loved, and why are you still here? And somehow people came into my life that made those lies seem real. And it was about when I was 21, I think that's when I found my rock bottom. And I didn't have a relationship with God at that time. But I remember sitting on my couch and saying, God, you're never going to love me. No one ever will. And now looking back in that moment, he was right there, and he was like, you can't tell me who I love. Mm-hmm. You don't know. Mm-hmm. And just stay with me. Just stay here. And I have really, really big things planned for you. Mm-hmm. You just hold on. And I guess it was.
That was at 21, and then.
Yeah, that was at 21. So that was 2009. And that was, so about 6 months later, there was Cody. Cody Sloan stepped into my life 6 months after that whole conversation that I had with God.
So you were living in Gore then, or?
Well, I was actually living somewhere else, and then I moved back to Gore right after that. I messaged Cody on Facebook because I was going to a football game at Oklahoma State where he went to school. And I just thought, I wonder what he's doing, like out of nowhere. And he said, I won't be at the game, but I'll be home for Christmas break. Let's hang out. And that was our first date.
That's all she wrote, huh?
Yeah. The timing, that's crazy within that short amount of time that God could be like, hey, here you go. But I really do think that Cody was meant for me so I could have a relationship with God. Cody was the one that God sent to make sure of it. Jess, all I can think of in this moment is, when Bob Goff says people keep praying for answers and God keeps sending us people.
I was thinking, hold tight, someone's coming. That's all I could think.
Yes, that one is so perfect for this.
What did he say that we were talking about the other day? Help will come in the form of people not running away. Isn't that what it is?
Yes. And let me tell you, I feel like there have been many times where Cody could have been like, see ya, like, I'm out of here, girl. But he didn't. He stuck with me. And God he really worked on this one. I mean, Cody and I, we grew up together. We were friends, but he drove me crazy. And in high school, when I was a junior and he was a sophomore, I asked him to prom and then dumped him the day of prom.
Oh, no.
And that prom ticket was in our wedding slideshow. But the best was our first date. So he comes to pick me up. I walk out, head to toe, we are dressed identical. We both have on red and black plaid shirts, jeans, and black cowboy boots, like our parents dressed us for brother-sister portraits at the local Sears studio. It looked like that's where we were headed.
Heard that story.
Yeah, so that should have been a sign. But also, the best part, God love him, after that first date, we hadn't seen each other for 3 years. And then after our first date, Cody said, I thought your accent was fake. And I said, and you went on a second date with me? I would have been like, I really enjoyed myself. However, I can't. I can't.
Two things. First, you have to tell them about his dresser drawers. And second, I think you sound exactly like Cody's mom. And third, I'm going to add an impromptu third. Did we say how we know Ash?
No.
I was going to bring that up earlier.
Okay, can you go back to Cody's drawers? And do you want to stay married to him after knowing about the drawers behind you?
It equals out my heavily OCD color coordinated situation that I love that keeps my mind at peace.
I don't know. So, sitting in there, I can't even look behind you for what's happened.
I think he owns about 3,000 pairs of socks, and we like to replenish that every 3 weeks. So it's growing.
I call Cody little brother, but little brother's drawers, not a single one of them is pushed all the way in. And I'm about to get in the fetal position, but I'm hanging on for dear life to finish the show.
He puts up with me. I'm going to put up with that.
Person to handle that.
And say too, this is our first interview over Zoom and not having somebody live here. And so that's what we're referencing, her looking at Cody's drawers there.
I'm so glad it's Ashley too, because I would be a nervous wreck if it was not one of my people.
Do you remember your number 2?
What do you mean? What
was number 2? You talked about the drawers, and what was number 2?
Is it How We Know Ash?
Yep.
Was it?
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
The impromptu number 3. What was number 2? Do y'all remember? No, it was number 3. That was the impromptu number 3. Number 2 was that you sound just like Cody's mom, who's our dear friend. Yeah. And if you are a listener of ours, and if you've heard the Crazy Horse episode, Terry is who we almost lost in Mexico in the horseback riding accident on the beach. That's Ashley's beautiful mother-in-law. Yeah. So when we're riding, I've even kind of thought back further. Jay and I were at a pioneer retreat in Mexico, and we walked up to 500 beautiful people dressed nicely with music and drinks, and we didn't know anyone. And we sit down at this table actually, Liesl saved us.
Yep.
We did know someone. Liesl came over and saved us and said, come sit with us, which is the nicest thing to hear when you don't know anyone. And we sit down, and there was a huge spotlight on our table. So the couple that was sitting across from us needed to kind of come around and sit by me so they wouldn't be blinded. And that is Terry Sloan. And it's just bonkers to me that the person that came and sat by me would be your mother-in-law. Like, it's so beauty from ashes, this incident that occurred, this near-death accident that would have occurred. We always say if we would have gone on that horseback riding, if it would have gone beautifully, gotten back, drank tequila, got back on the bus, had this beautiful, nice time, we would not know Steve and Terry, and I would not have one of my best friends on the planet that supports me where I stand. It's just beauty from ashes.
Yeah, crazy chain of events.
The whole story is just crazy.
So wild.
You just don't know how much I lean on Ashley on a daily basis with anything and everything. I don't know what I would do without her.
Yep.
That works 2 ways, sister. Seriously.
So when you talk about finding Cody and he kind of helps you finish your faith trip, so to speak, where does that end up? And I know that there's a couple of big things that happened after that really tested yours and Cody's faith and the family as a whole.
So Cody is, like I said, Cody's the one that brought me into this walk with Christ that I have. And it's because right when we got married, he said, hey, we have to find a church to go to. So we started going to this big church, and I didn't grow up in church. And actually, a lot of my experiences were those that you see in movies about small town people, small town churches. If you don't believe what I believe in, I know exactly where you're going, you know? So I was nervous, and we walk into this big church, and I was astonished because people were in blue jeans and athletic shorts, and they had tattoos covering their bodies, and they were genuinely accepted. So I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll give you a chance. And afterward, the campus pastor came up to us, and he was like, hey, so great to have you here. You should look into small groups. I literally said, whoa. Let's take it a step at a time. And he was probably thinking, who is this girl? Who are you? Who says that? But Cody kept us going, and he took on that role as, no, we're going to go to church every week. And from there, my faith was growing, and baptism rolls around. Of course, I'm that girl saying, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I don't need to get baptized in front of everyone. Okay, really? But I started praying about it. And I was like, all right, God, listen, I'll get baptized if you want me to. But just give me just tell me. The next time I was with our small group, our best friend and the leader of that group was like, hey, let's talk about baptism. I was like, have you been talking to God? Did he?
You have, haven't you?
Did he tell you something? And I was like, okay, all right. Well, that's a sign, but I need something big. Hit me with a big sign. So he said, okay. And he grabbed that mic, and he was like, Ashley, get baptized. Because the next day I went to Starbucks, and this man pulled open the door, held the door for me, and he said, I have been saved and washed clean by the Lord. And he left. And I was like, mic drop. Okay, I'm getting baptized. I heard you.
You big shit.
I know, showing off. Gosh. But the biggest part of this is the man that Cody, or the man that God sent for me, Cody, was the one that got to baptize me. And there's a really cool picture that our church took of Cody laying me down into the water. And the same campus pastor that came up to me after my first service is in the background with his hands raised as high as they can be, worshiping. And all I think of when I look at this picture is, God, I sat on a couch and told you were never going to love me, and no one ever will. and look at all these people that you have placed in my life to show how much you love me and how much work they put into my life, so how much they love me. If that's not a testament of true love, I really don't know what is.
Right? That's beautiful. I want to see that picture.
Oh, it's the coolest. I will show you. I love it so much.
Oh, that's so powerful, Ash. My gosh.
Yeah.
So y'all continue as a family then from that point to grow spiritually and grow closer to the Lord. And I know that there's a couple of things that happened to you after that really tested that.
I think the biggest test of our faith, my faith for sure, was my baby cousin Hayden passing away. And Hayden was my best friend. I mean, we were 6 years apart. He was one of the greatest people I've ever known. And in his 22 short years, I never once heard him say a bad thing about anyone. And if he had a dream or a goal, he worked every single day to make that happen. His biggest dream was to be in the special forces in the military. And when he graduated from Oklahoma State in 2015, he was headed to Georgia for the Army. I remember at his graduation, which was May 2015, I held on to him so tight. And I got in the truck and I thought, because I didn't let him go for a really long time, I just clung to him. And I got in the truck and I thought, that was so strange. Like, why did maybe I did it because I know I won't see him until December. Maybe that's what it was. And I went about my business. So he goes to Georgia. He's in the Army. September 16th, 2015, I was in my ICU clinicals for nursing school. I was in my patient's room. The doctor just told this family that their loved one, my patient, wasn't going to live. And you can't cry in front of anyone. And I mean, y'all know me. So I turn my back to everyone and I look out the window and I start crying. And all I can remember is this beautiful day. It was such a beautiful day. And I prayed, God, you have blessed us with such an amazing day today, but yet inside this family is living a nightmare. I just want you to be with them, please. And I found out later that at almost the exact same time that I said that prayer, Hayden passed away. He got a cold and it moved to his heart. And while he was doing drills that day, he had a massive heart attack. And my world crumbled. I've experienced death all throughout my life, but no one so close to me. I told God, I can't do this without you. You're going to have to be by my side through this whole thing or I can't. And he never left me. I think it was 4 months after Hayden passed away is when Cody and I found out we were pregnant with Adeline. And all I could think was, I just want Hayden here because I know that this baby would love him so much and he would be more like an uncle than a cousin. And I started seeing Hayden everywhere after that. I have songs that I listen to when I really miss him, and this one particular song played wherever I went. I mean, it didn't matter where I was, the song played. And God was saying, don't be sad, because he knew. He knows. He's celebrating. The biggest blessing in all of that, and what gives me a lot of peace, is 2 days after the 1 year anniversary of Hayden's death, Adeline was born. So we had something so special to celebrate instead of mourn September. And it's kind of like that was Hayden's gift to me.
Oh,
that's amazing.
He's her guardian angel for sure.
That's so beautiful, Ash.
It really is. One more trial and tribulation, huh? It just keeps on coming, and just, I'm telling you.
And I can't, honestly, that strengthened my faith beyond words. I mean, it's like the biggest blessing. Something so beautiful came out of something so tragic like that. And God never lets me forget how close Hayden is.
Yeah. Well, I think probably, God was building you up for everything else you face in your life. And I know as a couple and as a family, that was a big hard one. And then hear what it's been a year, 2 years ago, y'all got another big trial and tribulation, something that we followed from afar. And I think really most of the nation did. And
oh my gosh,
you tell about it. I just want to say the fortitude of your family and the will to carry on, because it really was a year long or over a year long recovering, still doing it now. And I'll let you tell what happened, what y'all went through, but it was really amazing to watch all of you from afar and what you went through. And, we didn't even see the day to day. We saw probably the easiest stuff, and that stuff was hard. Yeah.
Oh gosh, y'all. I think that there's not a farmer in America that will ever forget May or even the summer. That May, it's been over a year. Let's see, I was 5 months postpartum with Crawford, and Cody was in the thick of busy season, y'all know. So I had a 5-month-old, I had a 2-year-old. It's not unusual for Cody to work 18-hour days during all of this. And on top of that, I'm dealing with some of the worst postpartum depression I think I would ever face. And I didn't tell anybody. So, Cody can't be there for me. So it's kind of danged if you do, danged if you don't, whether Cody's home or on the farm. And I lost sight of so many of our blessings in that moment. I just wanted Cody home. In that same time frame, we start hearing about historical flooding. We took it very seriously. The guys started moving all of our equipment. They started getting all of the insides of the buildings prepared, and people laughed at us. I mean, they thought there is no way that this water is going to get to our farm headquarters. And it started going over the riverbanks, and it started flowing into town, into homes, into businesses, and it made its way to our farm headquarters. And everything looked like it was in the middle of a lake.
Who was leading that charge? Was Steve having to pull Cody along, or was Cody the more insightful, being like, Dad, we have to do this? Who was leading the charge to kind of overreact at the time?
I think that was going to be a group decision, because they knew what all we had to lose. But Cody is usually, he's like, okay, this is what we have to do, and they'll brainstorm it. Yeah. Or vice versa as well. It's such a team effort on everything that they do.
And just to point out the timing of it too, it was a full blown, all the corn's planted.
Yeah.
The wheat's really progressed far along, getting close to harvest. Soybeans are planted. I mean, worst possible timing that it could happen.
Well, and you, unlike us, y'all have so many pivot pumps and such that go into the river. So that was like a whole nother level of removing that.
Yeah, destruction. Yep.
Yeah, tearing all of that down and moving it and all of that stuff that a lot of farmers don't really even have or know what would go into that. That was a whole new layer that y'all had to deal with.
Right before all of that started happening, they increased their workload to get everything in the ground, everything sprayed, whatever they had to do. They were wrapping it up 24/7 because they knew that this water was coming. Gosh, looking back now.
You're thinking just like a big rain event. You're not thinking a historic flood. I know after that I'd heard Steve say that before it had never even gotten really close to the shop, but at the time, what I remember, it got really deep. So tell us kind of about the destruction and what happened and kind of the cleanup after that and kind of how it affected all of you in your faith.
So I think the hardest part on all of this was I wasn't able to do anything. And y'all know Cody and Steve. Mm-hmm. They are easygoing. Whatever happens, we're going to take care of it. It's going to be great. Their outlook on life and their positivity is incredible. And gosh, I just look up to them so much, and they mean the world to me. And to see pain in their eyes, and, you know, this land and their livelihood, they have put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. Y'all know, you know the work, you know the passion that goes into it. What would be left when the water receded? Mm-hmm. No one knew. And that kind of pain, seeing that on their faces, is what crumbled me.
Just the uncertainty.
Yeah, the uncertainty of it all and their hard work.
So just to give some background on it, it was not only the destruction of 90% of y'all's crops, a lot of your pivots, a lot of your equipment. I know as a Pioneer dealer, y'all lost a lot of your seed because you couldn't haul it out quick enough. And so it was a lot of things that had to happen. And from the outside looking in, to see so much damage, to watch that water go down, and to watch y'all jump in there and in a very short frame of time put in another crop, although it being late and I know probably wasn't perfect. I mean, to get back in there and get that done, it had to be a test of everybody's faith. And it was just really amazing to watch.
It was.
Y'all, I have to say that there is no way that we would be where we are today if it wasn't for our whole family, all of our friends, our whole community. Everyone came together to make sure that we had plenty of help, that we were taken care of. And I cannot tell you how grateful we are for the people in our lives that just loved on us and helped us. And Cody did replant corn, and yes, it was late. And people thought, oh, you won't get anything out of that. And this is kind of what was so miraculous about the whole thing, is not only the corn that we replanted, we had some sweet corn that survived the flood. And, you know, sweet corn is our big family tradition. And the thought of not having 1 year of sweet corn broke us. But I know as a community, they were sad for us as well, because people have been raised on this, you know, it's part of their tradition as well. So, I mean, thank you, Lord, for that, because we had enough to sell in the field one night and then one day in town. And it was incredible. But then we had field corn. I mean, we had a crop in mid-October that we harvested.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and everyone thought, you know, we were nuts there was no way that we were going to have anything from that. And one of my favorite memories was we were right by the office, the farm office on our farm headquarters that was just completely underwater not long before that. And Cody had Adeline in his lap on the combine, and I had Crawford. We were making our final pass of field corn by the office, and the sun was setting. Oh. It was just like this serene moment, and we both had smiles on our faces. Mm-hmm. It was just like, thank you, Lord, for always, always, always being so loving and so gracious and blessing us beyond anything we could ever imagine.
Right.
That to me was so wild. And gosh darn it, after all of that, I never complained about Cody needing to work. I never complained about him having late nights. And through it all, when we were in the middle of that, you know, I couldn't do anything about the floodwaters. And my biggest point in all of this was I started praying as hard as I could, because that's something that I could do. And I started thanking God as much as possible. Like, you know, thank you so much for my family's health. Thank you for my home. Thank you for supplying us with this land and this farm that means everything to us. Thank you. And he filled me with the most incredible peace I've ever experienced. And I knew it was going to be okay. I knew it. It was wild. So in that moment, with everything that happened with my postpartum depression and losing sight of all of those blessings, it taught me the biggest lesson.
Oh my gosh.
I will not be ungrateful.
That perspective. We were talking this week about that beautiful lyric from that Passion song, if less of me means more of you, take everything. And the perspective of you finding yourself in a new space where essentially he pulled you back and filled that void with himself. And I've watched you walk through it. We felt the same, completely helpless and hopeless here in Texas. Every day I would call and I would be like, should we jump in the truck? Should we go? We like to force ourselves on others and didn't know if we were like going to be in the way. Well, of course we wouldn't have been in the way, but we would have been in someone's bedroom and we kept wanting to come and essentially had to just center ourselves and pray over the situation. That was the best we felt like we could do. But we've been to y'all's town probably 3 times now. And the first time we came, you were talking about the community joining together to help you guys. We came right after the accident. So it was like this scene out of Beauty and the Beast when they're downtown and everyone's singing and dancing. Carrie, your mother-in-law, had me by the hand, and it was like, not for real, but it was like we would meet the baker and they would be like, yes, thank you for saving our girl's life. And then we would meet the man with the cattle. I mean, like we would meet all of these different people. We would go and we'd meet the librarian and she'd say, thank you for saving Terry's life. Like every single person we met knew the whole story, knew who I was, and I didn't know who they were. They made us feel like celebrities when we didn't.
You are. You're big celebrities in Gore, Oklahoma. We're going to put your faces on a billboard and just say thank you.
For absolutely no reason you will do that because you are so gracious in this. You're gracious in our friendship. You're gracious in that horse accident. All of it is grace, and that's why we're so drawn to y'all. And how would we have found each other? Beautiful how it all came to be and the perspective that you got, because I've been there where you are in those 18-hour days wondering, why don't I get to have a husband that is here with me and the kids? Why is he always gone? And to see you gain a perspective that said, thank you for his crop and thank you for his, because I bet you he was home a bunch after that. And you're like, oh, no, let's get this fella back. And that perspective and the joy that they do get from raising those crops and tending to the land, the joy that's in their eyes that you can see, it's when our men are at their best and that's when they're most attractive to us and when our family functions correctly. And I know that's kind of happened in our life where I found myself fussing over something for a long time. And then it was like lightning struck. And then you're kind of like, wait, I want to fuss about that again. You know, it kind of takes like, I'd like to fuss about it, please. And I am sorry. And thank you, you know. And so the perspective, that's so powerful to hear about it.
I think it's really amazing too, that all those people that you referenced there that you met the first time there, those are the same people that came to them and helped support them through all the flood. And I see that flood as that's the ultimate. If it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. And I mean, that has definitely made y'all stronger. It tested your faith, and there's a lot of things that happened to you. And so when we talk about all that, when you look back at all your trials and tribulations and the things that happened to you, what would you want to pass along to people out of all those things that have happened to you as an individual, as a child, and then into your married life, and then going through these things that's happened to you?
I think the absolute biggest thing that I want everyone or anyone, even one person, to get out of all of this is, and everyone's heard it before, but God never said that your life was going to be a cakewalk with him. He never said that you will just be happy all the time and you'll never experience any kind of trials. But what he did say was, he'll never leave you. He will never leave your side. He will be with you throughout everything. And you're going to find yourself in these really deep, dark valleys at some point in your life. And what I want everyone to know is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Do not unpack there. Our lead pastor, Craig Groeschel, posted something on Instagram that totally took my breath away.
Hear it.
And he said, when you're ready to quit, try to remember, it takes a death to have a resurrection. It takes pain to have progress. It takes a hurt to have a healing. It takes a struggle to have a story worth telling. It takes a trial to have a testimony. Whenever you think, I cannot go on, call out to him. And Jess, you have taught me that you don't even have to scream at the top of your lungs to get his attention. Really, it just takes a whisper. He'll meet you where you are. He will carry you from that darkness and put you on the top of that mountain. And when you get up there, take the deepest breath and look around and look at how much stronger he has made you throughout every single thing that you went through, whether it be a parent abandoning you, lies that Satan has told you, crippling grief that you thought that you would never get past, or just destruction that you thought would just wash you away. He made you strong. He made you so resilient. And dang it, the next time you find yourself in that valley, you are going to get through it a bigger and better person because you have God. And I'm telling you, it's all because of him.
What do you say when I call you with a problem? What do you tell me when I call you with a trial?
Let's celebrate.
Celebrate.
Let's celebrate.
You hear that a lot around here, Ash. What a great testimony and story today, and
so powerful.
And want you to know how much we appreciate of you, and how proud we are that you're our friend, and what you and your family mean to us, and what it means for you to be here today.
It has been an absolute honor that you even thought to ask me to do this. Y'all mean the world to us. You are our angels on earth. And honestly, I cannot imagine life without you at all.
I can't either. I could do this all day. So quit trying to one up me, because
You'll win.
Because this is my Instagram plug. If you've lost faith in girlfriends, if you've lost faith in Karens and women in your community, Ash will restore your faith in that adult friendship with a girl. There's no competition. There's no second guessing. It is the safest space I've ever known. Our space with Ash and B and Cam, the four of us, have created something so special that the Lord gave to us to take care of, and we're doing our best. I love you so much, and I just think that you are one of the greatest people that God made. I really fully believe that, and I don't understand why I get to have you as a best friend, but I feel so thankful. I feel really, really thankful.
Jess, all of those things and everything else more. But you are the person that God sent to save me as well. I will always one up you and win.
Ash,
you're the best.
She goes, you're the best. Just give up, Ash. Oh, I love you so much. And when I came to Jay and asked if we could have you on the show, it was probably 8-9 months ago.
Yeah. It was.
Fully know that we did not know the full extent to what was going to happen in our life and in our relationship with each other. And you guys don't know this, but Ash drove to Texas to do this episode. We recorded. It didn't go well. None of us were on our game. it was almost like God struck the three of us kind of dumb. not to make fun of any of us, just because we didn't pray about it. We didn't bring it before him. And God was like, Ash can drive down there all she wants, but this isn't when I wanted you guys to do this. So good luck.
Yeah.
So the whole entire time you've been talking, I kind of want to lay back on this bed and just bawl my eyes out as to the beautiful, powerful testimony that you have inside of you, and God wasn't ready for you to say it back then. And I'm so thankful he's ready today, because I cannot wait for everyone to hear you and know you. And thank you so much for trusting us with your story.
Gosh dang it, I love y'all.
Yes, thank you very much for being here today.
And tell Sister we said thank you for watching the kids.
Oh, I will. She's going to be so excited.
So, babe, what else you got?
I think that's it. I'm just so happy. I would like some sushi, please.
All right. Well, the song says, the road goes on forever and the party never ends.
I love you.
I love you too.
We sure appreciate y'all listening today. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can search for us, Moving On Podcast. That's 3 words, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We would love to hear from you. With ways you're figuring out how to drop the ropes in each of your own lives, and even ways that you're not, hell, that's just as entertaining to us. See you in a couple of weeks.